Hey there, nerds. Jimmy here with number one son, James.
I'm your only son.
I know, but you're still number one. You're the best son I have. Yes.
Uh,
Anywho, so as you know, we are huge Tron fans. We try and spread the word of Tron to anybody who will listen because it is underrated. And one of the big things James has learned as he's gone off to college is having these movie nights. A lot of his similarly aged friends have never heard or seen a bunch of these movies that I subjected him to. Luckily, he is spreading the wealth, and this weekend they watched Tron and Tron Legacy. How'd that go?
it was an acid trip for most people. I learned that most people had seen Legacy, but
Okay.
they had not seen the original. So what they understood of Legacy would be completely shattered by the original. And I find it very interesting because it's almost like the reverse of Star Wars, where you have everybody seeing the classics and then the newer stuff. In this case, you have people seeing the newer stuff and then the classics. So it's a very different understanding of the story. And it's the way I like to look at it is Legacy is both a remake and a sequel to the original. And it's a lot like Disney's Metroid, which if any of you know the history of Metroid as a game series, Nintendo really like pushed it down because it wasn't necessarily profitable and it was really only supposed to be a one-off thing. But they gave the developers a chance to make another Metroid game. And so they made the sequel on the Game Boy, and then they made Super Metroid, which was both a remake and a sequel to 2 and the 1 on NES. Legacy functions like that with the original Tron. And the original Tron was supposed to just be kind of a one-off movie, like high concept, kind of goofy out there idea. And that's definitely what you get because I love 1982 Tron. There is so much to it that I think makes it such a brilliant concept and such a beautiful film. But it's also dorky as hell.
He and I differ on this opinion. I obviously grew up with Tron, and I don't know why, how, but in one of my first houses, my parents were able to get the Disney Channel. It was totally brand new, came out of nowhere, and Disney happened to own and create Tron and Condor Man. So those were on all the time in replay, among other scarier movies. So I fell in love with Tron, and I did not know until I got older how they made it. But to me, it was unlike anything else on TV. I did not catch the religious undertones and all that when I was a kid, but it was just this fascinating world that I'd never been involved with as far as computers that were just becoming available at home to this whole grid and being able to control these things that were in the computer. And as a kid, it's like, I just thought computers did computer things. Like, oh, you write programs that do this as a human is like, whoa, that's awesome. So to see it visualized, and then obviously we have the hero Flynn that is just a badass, but then we have the not quite so hero who is still a badass, but you're not sure what level hero he is because it's certainly self-interest that he's preserving, and Kevin Flynn. So yeah, Tron and Flynn, and then Sark and Dillinger. It's such a great story. I love the visuals again because it had some of the first computer graphics I'd ever seen
Oh
on
my god.
TV, but they're not what you think.
And
People
it's
are like, oh, there's so many computer graphics. Like, no, most of it was shot with no color,
and
and then
it's
they had artists go back and literally color paint on the film.
And one of the biggest things that really frustrates me is I saw this video where people are watching the original and they're pointing out that it's CG backgrounds when it's the people. Those were matte paintings, fuckers. Do not disrespect the art of the matte painting.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, every fucking matte painting in that movie is a masterpiece. I don't care if it looks goofy and you can see the clipping on the film. It is so beautiful to me to see every single one of those like just painted masterpieces of just whatever they could imagine would be inside a computer. And it definitely influenced the new synthwave visual movement. And a lot of people don't want to think about that because it's like Tron, and I'll get into this in a minute, was highly influential, but people don't think about it because Legacy overshadows the original. But every single visual element of Tron influenced so much of modern media in that genre. And somebody pointed this out to me, the rendering for the computer imaging, fucking beautiful. It probably took them like months to render it, but it was so smooth watching the recognizers come in. It's not choppy. It's like, it's genuinely smooth to watch. And it's so impressive for a 1982 film where computer graphics were basically nothing.
What was the grid bug? That was
That was animation. And
Yep.
and when Sark gets his head split, no, when Sark falls after being giant, that was 2D animated.
Yep, that exactly. There was layering, and it was all on scene special effects, which is unbelievable. But that's what I mean is that, yes, I understand you're saying it's hokey. And when you look at the behind the scenes photos with the foam outfits and the leotards, and it looks way less impressive. But when I watch the movie, I'm like, damn, this is unreal what they were able to accomplish. And it's beautiful.
And I completely agree with that every sense of the way. It's like, yes, I can see every element of the filmmaking, like with the original Star Wars. It's like, I can see the clipping, I can see the issues, but it's like, I don't care. I don't care. It's so fucking beautiful that I just don't care. I will watch 1982 Tron and be happy, even if it can look a little goofy at points, because it's like, I am watching a genuine masterclass in filmmaking, a high concept sci-fi with what you have at the time. And every part of it is so beautiful. Just the little details, like when Sark gets angry and his light circuitry beams up, or like when Ram is passing and it's like flickering. It's like, it's such little things, but the amount of work and detail and effort that had to be put into that is so much that I don't care if it might look a little goofy to modern audiences. I think it's beautiful.
Well, and it's an amazing story in that a lot of times science fiction like that is man versus machine or AI, what
This is
have you.
machine versus machine.
And it's man versus man. It's Dillinger versus Flynn, and it's Tron versus Master Control. And it's just this amazing allegory for higher belief and religion, no matter what religion it is. Just what do you believe? Are you a user? Are you a program? Do you believe? And it's just a fascinating story, which I think is one of the best stories we've seen of this. I think The Matrix went a different route. Obviously, the first one was genius visually, great story, but this is what really set those up. This is what allowed those to happen because it was, as far as I know, the first big studio project that went into the computer to show us what could be done.
And it's what I love about the philosophy of Tron is that where the Matrix went nihilist, Tron went existentialist and absurdist. And then it's like, who cares if the users exist or not?
Yeah.
Do the right thing. And that's kind of what it is the whole time. Yes, the users exist. We know that. The programs don't. They just hope and pray that it is true. And there's a point at which you see some of them lose faith that the users exist. Tron has that moment where he's like, I don't know if this will work. Even Dumont is like, I don't fucking know. And so when Tron does his classic pose with the identity disc and it floats up, there's just like this moment that it's like, will my user get to me? And you hear Alan's voice and it's like, get to master control, destroy it. It's like, yes, it's faith, but it's not faith in something intangible or unachievable. It's faith in something that does exist, that can be communicated with. And I love the idea that it's this completely different understanding of religion and faith. And that it's like, I love that Sark calls the people who believe in users religious zealots, but that it's master control who knows users exist, holding that information from Sark to keep Sark under his control.
Yeah.
And that there's
Sark is a representation of Dillinger, who Dillinger wrote Master Control, but Master Control has become 4,000 or whatever more time powerful. And it's just this interesting commentary in 1982 of AI, of computers, of man and greed, and I mean, Kevin Flynn is not altruistic. He's not doing this to be a good guy and take down Master Control. He's doing this so he can get the fame and power that he feels he was cheated out of because Dillinger stole his arcade games.
Exactly. And it's what I love so much is that it's very much the Roman Empire and the beginning of the Middle Ages when you have, and it's a combination of the two. You have the Roman Empire, who was all about conquering and sieging different nations and then throwing political dissidents into their games and coliseums and making them fight to the death.
Yep.
But then you also have the church in the Middle Ages who would suppress information that they didn't agree with or that they didn't find was congruent with what they wanted to teach the people, which is master control misguiding Sark. And you have this real world influence of actual history and philosophy influencing the world of Tron. And that's what I love, because then Legacy like full on delivers into it, where you bring in the ideas of philosophy in the real world into the grid. And we'll get into that in a minute. But with my friends, when we were watching it, people really enjoyed it. It got a lot more positive reaction than I thought it would. People enjoyed it. They were able to suspend their disbelief and have fun with it. People got genuinely distraught when Ram died, which I thought was pretty cool, because Ram dying, it's like, oh shit, there were actual stakes in the fun and computer game world.
Yeah.
And then you have Flynn like drunkenly flying the recognizer. He's not drunk, but it's just funny because he's hokey with it. I love the light cycle fight. I love the light cycles in Legacy, but I will always have a soft spot for the light cycles in the original, because that design is so ingrained in my brain that it's like, I don't care if they turn it 90-degree angles. I don't care if it's like you can tell it's just the actors with like a matte gloss over them when they're in the shuttle of the light cycle. I love the design. I think it's so cool. And I love the way they like glide and move on the things. I love the tank design. I really appreciate the tank design. It was so funny. I always laugh when when the one like slides off the grid. I just imagine that like somebody goes to Sark and it's like, we lost a tank. And then he's like, you lost a what? It's like, we lost a tank. And it's like, how did you lose a tank? And it's like there's so much to this world that it's I love the visual design. I mean, his ship looks beautiful. And then they made it even better in Legacy, but it's like his ship is so amazing in that. Sorry, I'm really trying to get to the ending, because the ending is like kind of like the big thing that I love. Just when they meet Dumont, and Dumont's in the staircase and he's like, yeah, go do the thing. And that room, I love the matte painting they did for that room, because it is like an acid trip, but it's so beautiful. And you get the iconic moment where Tron holds up his identity disc and it floats up, and it's this little scene, but it's like, it has become a part of pop culture that it's like, if you see that pose, you're going to be like, oh, I feel like I've seen that from somewhere before. And then he talks with Alan, and then they go, and then you've got Yori, who I'm so disappointed we didn't get Yori or Dumont back in Legacy, which kind of sucks. But
Dumont had passed away, the actor.
That is true.
So that makes sense. He is also in Lost Boys as Grandpa. As another nerdy reference, but we got his name on the garage where
that
all started it. So it was Dumont. Yori is another story. Cindy Morgan, just beautiful, beautiful. It was the first time I ever fell in love with a program. Thank you. Love you, Yori. Jem was the next one in Legacy. I don't know why she wasn't included at all, because we did have Alan in the next one. And she's now since passed away, so she will never be in another one. So rest in peace, Cindy Morgan. You were amazing in Tron, gorgeous, great actress. Thank you very much. I agree. I don't know why we didn't get more.
And so then we get to the climax where you have Sark rounding up like the potent programs that Master Control,
religious zealots.
Yeah, that Master Control is going to absorb so it can become even more powerful. And you get to when we enter. You have the ship flying overhead. Yori and Flynn are basically like trying not to get derez. And you have Tron entering from the base, and you see the Master Control column thing, and I knew my friends were going to laugh at it. It's like, I think the design's a little stupid. I get the point. I appreciate what they were doing, but we all died laughing because it looks like a dude who's like looking at you like that through a camera.
Awesome and scary as a kid. It was perfect. And there's my son, not my daughter this time, destroying my youth.
It's so goofy. It's so goofy. I mean, it doesn't help that we're a bunch of almost adults.
We're a bunch of a-holes. Yeah, I know. I get you.
But
anywho,
it's definitely more threatening when you're like a little kid. You're like, oh, scary. And it's
good because then Flynn makes this weird jump and then slides down the inside of Master Control. And
my God,
I don't know how they did it. The special effects are weird, but yeah, I get it.
think it was just like a model or something because it didn't look like he was moving. I forgot how visceral Sark getting split down the head was.
That was a great practical effects.
That one shocked me. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot. It looks like he literally has like gray matter pouring out of his head. And then he like grows. And that one, somebody pointed out that it was like, oh, they were having fun with this one. And I'm like, they were having fun the whole film, man. And then you get the moment where Flynn hits the center of the matrix of Master Control and the thing stops and Tron throws the disc. And it's like, the little kid in me is like, yeah, you did it, Tron. And it's like such this awesome moment. And it's so cool when Master Control dies. And it's like, it's a video game cutscene, but it's like the change in the colors in the background and then seeing the pieces of Master Control blow up and the whole unit just explodes. It's like, I love that scene because it's like the color composition and everything blowing up. It was a technical showcase. And it's like, it's the end of tyranny in the grid for a time. And it's like, you then get Dumont and Yori walking out and they're like, did Flynn make it? And it's like, I don't know. He jumped in to save you. And it's like, the user did the right thing. And it restores faith in the grid as you see almost like a sunrise on it. And it's the beginning of the vaporwave aesthetic because you have that visual design, which is now carried into like what everybody thinks of 80s with the neon. And it's just a perfect ending to that story. And it doesn't need to be anything more complex than that at its end. It's the destruction of tyranny.
And it is the first, as far as I know, representation of hacking. Like the whole point of what Tron is doing is he's trying to hack into the Master Control because Tron's a security system and he's trying to shut him down because he's doing illegal things. So as the circular thing's going around, every time Tron throws it, the disc gets stopped. That's security parameters by the Master Control. Flynn jumps in, theoretically being a hacker as a user, trying to divert his attention, and then that leaves the door open for Tron to finally get the disc in to be able to shut him down. And it's like, this is a representation of literally the digital realm in 1982, and it makes perfect sense.
It's a literal firewall. And what I appreciate is in the opening scenes, we literally see Flynn hacking his way into the NCOM system, and Clue is the representation of that. And it's like the recognizers are meant to be security protocol programs, and they are meant to be security systems, like encryption systems, essentially. The whole reason they stop Clue is because they recognize foreign code or like a foreign signature that's not supposed to be there. And so they stop it by using encrypted hardware and software. And it's like, it's a beautiful representation of how technology and coding works. And I feel like alongside the visual aesthetic of Tron, with that influencing vaporwave, and then like what people think of the 80s is like the neon, you then get people's understanding of how coding and technology works in a more abstract sense. And it's really impressive how like a simple 1982 film almost completely revolutionized the way we understand technology.
I want to make looking up her name because I don't remember, and this is bad.
Wendy Carlos?
There we go. Wendy Carlos. Thank you.
Oh my God, her sound design.
Obviously, everybody knows Daft Punk and knows Tron Legacy, but she is really the one that created this design that would then influence Daft Punk. It's such a gorgeous, revolutionary film score that we had never, ever heard anything like this before, and basically introduced electronica into a movie, and it was perfect. Just perfect.
My favorite score in all of Tron. I love Legacy. I love the soundtrack Daft Punk made, but my favorite score is the Tron theme from '82 when everything ends with the da 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 da, and it's like it encapsulates the electronic frontier, but it's also such a beautiful underscoring and underpinning.
Positive. It's like, oh my God, look at this world we're opening up. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like without John Williams, you don't get Star Wars. Without Wendy Carlos, you don't get Tron.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. She did not get enough credit for what she did. She's getting credit now.
Yes.
But yeah, and this is again, I don't know how Tron fell through the cracks. And I don't know how Tron fell through the cracks for so long.
I know, right?
I have promoted this movie to anybody who will listen in my life. You have never lived a day without knowing Tron existed or watched it because I forced it upon you.
And
But there are people that have no idea this movie exists, and it's shocking.
And it's like so much, I feel like so much of my art and the way I write is influenced by Tron. And it's influenced by a lot of things you introduced to me, but so much of it by Tron because everything I want to write is like at the existential level of Tron, that it's something nobody has thought of before in a way like that. And I really want like other people to watch Tron because I want it to inspire people to create art that's so wildly extravagant and avant-garde, and it creates something beautiful.
And I've never introduced Tron to somebody that didn't like it. They may not like it as much as I do, but nobody's ever, oh my God, I hated that movie. They'll talk
Exactly.
about the newer kids will talk about how goofy the special effects are, the original, but nobody's ever come back to me and like, oh my God, what a waste of time. I hate
But like they had fun with it. And even the people who like had no idea what was going on still enjoyed it. And at least we have legacy for the people who still want to appreciate Tron, to which I say, y'all are nerds because the original is awesome. Give it its due credit.
Now, sadly, we had a very long time without Tron.
What,
we had
like 3 video games?
Comic books here, there. We had some video games, but really only being able to watch Tron on Disney Channel or buying the DVD. Until at San Diego Comic-Con in like 2008, out of nowhere, they unveil test footage that they shot for a new Tron. Like, what? So in 2010, we finally get a sequel to Tron Legacy. We went and saw it in the movie theater, and I don't know if I'll ever see it this way again because it was so awesome, and 3D's kind of gone by the wayside. But we saw that in 3D, and it was amazeballs because the beginning and the ending weren't in 3D, but the whole section of the grid was in 3D.
Oh my God, when he gets transported and it comes at you, it's like, oh,
it was mind-blowing. It was so, I've never seen a movie like that before and probably won't see it again. It was awesome seeing it that way.
I would love to see a 3D rendition of the '82 Tron because that would be awesome to do that same thing. It'd be hard, but it'd be super cool.
Nowadays, it'd be easier to do because you don't need the red-blue effect. You can definitely do other versions of 3D. But what that first 30 minutes when we're in the real world and we're establishing this new world of Tron, and we find out that Kevin Flynn is nowhere to be seen. We have poor Sam Flynn. We have Alan Bradley trying to fight for Flynn, but now we have NCOM totally becoming NCOM. Flynn is a big old memory, and Little Dillinger is back.
New baby Dillinger.
Yes, as Cillian Murphy, and I love it. I wish that it developed more, but I have a theory of the neutron. But it was just this awesome representation of not having Tron for a very long time to here's Sam, here's the son. He's even more of a brash young fellow than his dad.
The son of the maker.
Exactly. Seeing him jump off the roof, seeing what he was doing to the system and releasing what was it, NCOM 12 or whatever it was.
The security system.
And it's so awesome. All the way up into Alan visiting him at his garage, Dumont, which overlooks the NCOM building right off the shore. It's just so perfect. That first introduction to this new world was so perfect to me.
And the Daft Punk score, I can't even mimic it, but that opening song, it's like everybody knows that opening song. And it's my favorite callback. Now that's a big door.
It
I
was
swear to God, if that joke isn't in Aries, I'm gonna lose it. It's
just perfect.
it's such
Exactly.
a perfect joke. It's
And
a
then
big freaking door.
we go back to the arcade, which they rebuilt, which was awesome.
Yes. And it's
And we have the music.
what
Who's
I
playing, James?
Journey. What I love is that Journey made a song for the original Tron that's playing in Flynn's arcade when in the opening shot, the establishing shot where we see it, and then when is it Laura? Is that the real world counterpart to Yori?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, Laura and Alan come in, and you hear that same Journey song, and then I think no, it's a different song at the end, but it's like you hear that song playing when they walk in, and then when Sam boots everything back up, we've got Separate Ways by Journey. And it is such a cool little callback. But it's also just like a perfect it's a perfect way to establish Flynn's arcade.
And two little quick notes. What other song did we hear in both versions?
Eurythmics.
Exactly.
Sweet Dreams Are Made of These.
Exactly. That. Yep.
Just Sweet Dreams. Sorry.
Just perfect. But what, as a fun fact that you and I both learned rather recently, who or what music group dropped out and did not contribute to Tron, which I was shocked.
This one hurt me because I feel like they could have done some awesome stuff for Tron. Supertramp. And
I did not know that until James recently found that out. And I was like, Journey was not supposed to have anything to do with it.
You found it out.
Oh, did I?
And then you sent it to me. And I was like, damn, what the fuck, Supertramp?
It was supposed to be Supertramp.
I appreciate Journey more because I feel like the getting Separate Ways in Legacy really sets the tone.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, like, just being like a quick poet. It's like, it perfectly encapsulates Flynn leaving Sam. Yeah. And it's just like that little footnote that it's like, you don't think about it until you rewatch it. You're like, oh shit.
Even Sweet Dreams. It's like, he's trying to create this whole world that people can get away from and find cures, answers, whatever. Well, that's pretty much what Sweet Dreams is, literally singing.
Exactly.
So I found that interesting as well.
Yeah. I don't think any Supertramp song would have fit the same way Journey's does.
It is amazing how that accident just perfected going into the trilogy, but made the first one better too. But anywho, so we're back to Sam discovers this whole secret basement office to his dad's arcade because Alan got a page. It's hilarious because I'm sure that's like, what is a page?
I love Sam's remark that it's like, oh, got the good old pager out.
Oh, the pager, nice. Yeah, exactly. So now Sam is brought into the grid, and this is where shit gets real.
I would like to point out, somebody said this and it was really funny. They're like, man, he and his dad are really bad at sitting at chairs where there's a laser that'll shoot them.
Kind of like Taken. Why does this keep happening?
It's like, shit, you're right. Yeah. Both movies have a Flynn that's related to each other sitting right in front of a laser that shoots them into the grid, and they don't know that.
Yep.
It's like, damn.
Yeah,
like father, like son.
Look around, dude. Anywho. So he gets pulled in, and this is where we are introduced to a brand new grid. Yes. We are really able to show the special effects advancements that have happened. Now, this is what's impressive.
Bit of a visual.
2010.
Just a little bit.
2010. So this is still now 15 years ago. So some of the special effects, like seeing the de-aged Jeff Bridges, was a little rough. I would love for them to, now that they own ILM, really update that, but they won't. Yeah. But then we see Clue, which is similarly rough, but a little more explained because.
Okay, but him in the cape, him in his suit. Oh my God, that costume is fucking amazing. Sorry.
All the updated costumes with the LEDs and all that, and it's not. It is again practical effects. Obviously, they touched it up in post production, but it's not drawing on after the fact, shooting in black and white and all that. It is LED lights that are on these outfits, and it's bad ass because there's another one when we see Flynn come in with his hood and it's lit underneath and he's being godlike, and it's like, oh my God, the visuals are beautiful.
Oh my God. I mean, just seeing the first new recognizer is mind shattering because you had like the pyramid chunky blocky ones, and then now they're like buttery smooth. Like I could lick it and it would like, I don't know, it would be smooth. And it's like, I say this as kind of like a joke, but like the light cycle trails in Legacy, it's like I want to eat that. I don't know why. It looks tasty because it just looks so good. It's so slick.
I feel like I have to preface the dad joke. You better recognize. Yeah, exactly.
But then you have like complete overhaul of the understanding of program design, which
We have
you don't have like the intricate designs. You have simple LED designs, and I love the dude who has half his face missing.
yes, and we get this early on. Games, no, and he like commits suicide, and you're like, what? Like,
It's
okay,
like if you don't know Tron 82, you don't know why the games are so terrifying.
no, and even at that, you don't know. Like, they didn't have a choice back then. Like, wait, you'd rather commit suicide than try in the games? Like, what is going on?
Well, it's like one is death prolonged and one is death now.
Yeah,
And
like, there's no choice.
I get the de-resing in 82. It wasn't as good. And we had a lot of fun jokes that it's like Tron kills on sight, no questions asked. There are like 3 times where he just throws his disc without asking questions and kills another program. It's like, whoa. And it's really that much more visceral in this movie because people get turned to bits and just, and it's like, oh.
Like that one, it looks like he ran into a blender because he went down the fan and then he became digital particles. You're like, ugh.
That one, it's like it really shows that there's real weight to this, and it's like it's kind of terrifying to get de-res now, and it's
And
like
that's where we get Sam in his first outfit, and we meet my girlfriend Jem, who is adorable.
oh, I feel like that did a lot of things to a lot of teenagers.
Well, what most people don't know is at the time, I have no idea how, why, if it was authorized, but Playboy did a special Tron spread.
They
with
did?
like the electronics and all this and the lighting with naked chicks. And it was very tasteful.
I have missed out on this.
It was, yes.
Damn it.
I have no idea how this could have been authorized, but because it's still Disney at the end of the day, it happened. Yes.
I need to invest in this now.
Yeah, don't search your computer at school. Anywho, so we are now in the grid. Sam is being introduced to the games, and it's nothing like we've ever seen before.
And I love the joke where he's like, I have a figure of you on my nightstand, and he does the thing. And he's like, oh, it didn't do that.
Yeah, and we get the Disc Wars, which we've seen, like a baseball field sort of set up with Tron, but now it's completely different, where it's sort of one-on-one, almost more like the highlight game that they played in the original. But the effects are amazing. The choreography, the acrobatics, everything. Meeting Rinsler,
Oh my god,
all phenomenal.
Just the glossiness of everything is like, ooh, so beautiful.
And we learn because Clue was tasked with creating the perfect program, so everything is pristine and clean and beautiful. And that's why that shit outside with the dude with the half face, he wasn't going to be allowed in this. He's going into the games. Yeah.
Oh, and that's where I love this introductory scene to the games because it is a perfect redesign of what we saw in the original Tron. The original Tron, I love those game scenes. I like the original light cycles more as a design, but I love the visual identity that they give the new light cycles and the new disc battles. It is so palpable. It's just, again, I look at the light cycle trail and I'm like, I don't know why, but I want to eat that because it just looks tasty.
Well, and it's gorgeous what they do with the 3D effects, and that they're multi-layered in the arena, and that the light cycles aren't one level. They're going up and down and spiraling and
then when they explode and you see the fuel, it's like that as somebody who has had to deal with rendering, that rendering for something like that is such a nightmare, but it looks so good.
It was so beautiful. And we get the little backstory now that is not his dad. That's Clue. We don't know what's going on at this point, but Sam is like, okay, all right, why don't we go home? Well, I'm not your dad.
And I would like to add that they purposefully added in like the little, I don't know what to call it, but like the lens flare when the tank blows up in the original, where you see like that, I don't know what to call it, but that effect of the camera where it's like you've got they have it in Uprising too, but it's like they have that with some of the light cycle explosions where you see that like effect. And I love that little addition. It's just a nice little detail.
Yes, it is.
And I love the character design for the bald dude with the fucking plastic cover thing. I
He's
just
so annoying. He's
in
perfect.
my head, I'm like, somebody on the costume team was like, okay, how do we make this dude look like an idiot? Shave him bald and tape plastic to his face.
And he was a perfect idiot. He
Oh
was
my god.
awesome.
Yes.
But then we have Sam down to his last wits. He's wrecked and he's trying to get his, yeah, he's going, see what happens. And we have the introduction of our first off road vehicle and Cora.
I love Cora's introduction. She is one of my favorite characters in all of Tron. I hope we get more of her in Ares, and I really hope they're like hiding that involvement. Or I just hope we get more of her character in general. But it's seeing her with her mask on come in with the giant off-road vehicle and just eviscerate one of the light cyclists is so funny. Sam hops in and she like makes a run for it. She parts a wall in the Coliseum, makes a run for it. He's like, "You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it." Makes the jump, and she's like, "Made it." It's like it's so petty, but it's such a good introduction.
And then she unveils her face or reveals her face, and we see it's the beautiful Olivia Wilde, and
Oh,
that's Cora. And they drive up to off road to Flynn's hideout, and we see Kevin for the first time, and he is very old, very aged, and it's interesting to watch these back to back because he is not the same Flynn that we see in the first one, where he's
no,
a brash kid. Now he's been stuck in the grid for I don't remember how many life cycles, and
1,000
he's
cycles.
he's been without his son, and his wife had died. We learned that in the comic books. We saw that in the comic books, learned it obviously in the early telling. So he's lived a hard life, so to speak, and he looks like it.
Yeah, and it's I what frustrates me is that I've known that there's Tron fans and Star Wars fans, and there are those who are in between. And as a character for Flynn, nobody complains that he went from the brash young hero to the desolate hermit who screwed up and feels guilty. But when it happens to Luke frickin' Skywalker, it's hell on earth.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the same character beat, and yet nobody gives Flynn shit.
Well, that's because we didn't have Luke have this awesome interaction with Clue.
That is
And
true.
mine still meant to
But
create the perfect system.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, we kind of get it with Luke and Kylo, but that's a different. That's
Not at all. That was I love that dialogue. It's so cheesy walking with Flynn and Tron and or Kevin Flynn. Am I still meant to create the perfect system? Yeah.
It's
Boom.
so funny to me.
Ta.
It's like all of the problems were because Flynn said that. And what I love is that instead of Flynn acting like he was in the right, he admits he fucked up.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it breaks Clue, but we'll get to that point.
And that's what's amazing is the storytelling once again is so beautiful. And Kevin's basic theory the whole time is do nothing and it'll resolve itself. Well, that hasn't worked so far, but it was working in that Sam was not a part of it and the grid was the grid and there were no chance of it interacting with the real world. Oops. Sam screwed that up.
Oh, my bad. And then it's like you see his frustration that Sam came in, and it's like Flynn had become the hermit. He was like, God damn it, I fixed everything. And Sam's like, you didn't fix anything. You just delayed the inevitable. And I love their dinner scene. I mean, I love Cora, her actress, just the bug-eyed, like,
On Olivia Wilde, when she's like, school? Yeah, Caltech, Poly. Oh, you went to my alma mater? I dropped out. And she just laughs, like full belly laugh. And you're like, at no point is that appropriate in a real world conversation. But it is funny if you're just kind of hearing that he's all proud his son went to the college. Oh, I dropped out. I was like,
and I love how bug-eyed she gets. Like, she's just learning. And it's so funny that she's like,
yeah.
And I love when they go to the bookshelf and they point out all the authors, and she's like, Tolstoy is her favorite, which I find hilarious. That like of all the philosophical thinkers, like I think he says like Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, maybe Camus, but like a bunch of philosophers, and she's like, I like Tolstoy, and it's like, of course.
Her favorite was Jules Verne.
Yes, it was Verne. My bad. It was Tolstoy. Nietzsche, Dostoevsky, but she likes Verne. And I'm like, of course she likes
It's like,
Verne.
do you know him? And he goes, yeah, like I've read him. What's he like? And it's like, well, he's not alive still, but that's not how she understands the world. And it's
It gives Back to the Future vibes where he's like, I loved that when I was a child. It's like it just came out. And then Bucky saying, yeah, I read The Hobbit when it first came out.
exactly.
I love
It's
jokes like
it's
that.
I love yeah, I do too. So Cora is the one who sets Sam on his way, knowing that she knows Kevin better than anybody at this point, other than Kevin, but knowing that something needs to be done. So she sends him to an old acquaintance named Zeus, played by Michael Shannon. No, Michael Sheen. Michael Sheen. I always
Yes.
mix those up.
And it only would have been better if we had David Tennant there and those two were fighting. But that's me just loving those two actors and how they goof with each other.
And we get more Jem, my girlfriend.
And what I love about this scene is that this is like the big scene everybody talks about because guess who shows up? Daft and Punk.
And it's awesome how they are integral to the storyline as Zeus is literally telling them to change the tone, play the music, whatever. And they do as he requests. But we learn more about the backstory to the ISOs, which
Yes.
is what Zeus is, and that Kevin had described to Sam,
Mhm.
and that this was the beautiful imperfection that Clue could not fathom and wanted to be
His,
wiped out because it was not the perfect system.
his gift to the world, the human frontier of technology. And I love that a lot of people see it as him making the grid accessible to everybody. That's not it. It's him showing how we can study humanity at its core by demonstrating it with another, basically the advent of technology and intelligence. The ISOs are humanity. They're the human equivalent on the grid. And that was his gift to the world, to be able to basically see the origin of human intelligence and study it in a way nobody else could. And
Exactly.
that's where I love that it's, in a way, it's Terminator, it's The Matrix, it's all these classic AI films where humanity is the problem. And it does it so subtly well because Clue sees this ISO advent, this human intellect advent, as a mistake.
Yeah, as a virus. Yeah, and
And
it's
he's
fascinating because it's Flynn who told Clue what to do, and that's exactly what computers do, what humans instruct it to do. And to me, that is just such a perfect allegory for everything that's going on in that. Then we see that Zeus is betraying them because of everything that did happen, and he's looking out for himself. And probably one of the coolest scenes in all of Tron, we have Sam, Cora fighting together. Cora loses an arm. Sad, sad, sad. Anyway, thank you, Loki. Enter the creator. And we've never seen Kevin like this. And that's why this is so badass. And this is what I'm talking about. The black hood lit on the underside, and he just reaches down to the ground, touches the floor, and everything stops. And it's this beautiful sequence of them running out, saving Cora, saving Sam. You have people falling to their knees, praying because it's the creator that's just going by. And then you have basically the anti-religion, which is Clue and his followers, who are coming in trying to steal Kevin's disc, identity disc. And it's just this beautiful sequence of rebellion fighting Clue's army, the zealots who believe in the creator and can't fathom that they just saw their god at work, and then the bad guys trying to steal the identity disc. And it's so many things going on with, of course, Zeus shooting his cane in the background.
the
Like,
son of a maker.
it's just a beautiful, crazy, fucked up scene, all with that
I
Daft
just
Punk.
I just love the fact that Daft Punk, they're in the Maestro box and they're just jamming out. They couldn't care less.
No, it's beautiful. And then the elevator goes down. Flynn lost his identity disc. End of the world. Blah blah blah. They still have to
And
go on the
Sam's
run.
like, little help here.
Exactly. So they make their way onto the train. Now, instead of a rescue mission, which is what Kevin planned, Kevin's now like, we got to make a run for it. Let's do it. So him, Sam, and Cora, who's now unconscious, are on their way. But we then learn that Zeus
You ever jump a
is
train car, kid?
Zeus is in cahoots with
Clue.
Clue. And there are arguments to be made that Zeus and hopefully Jem are still alive, but it doesn't look good for him because Clue blew up the end of the line club. Boom, gone.
Yeah, which I'm so sad we didn't get like an end of line pun from Clue, but I do appreciate that it's referenced in the bar, which I always loved that was Master Control's big thing, the end of line. It's such a threatening way to end a
It's like,
sentence.
shut up.
End of line. It's so effective.
It is.
But I appreciate the revamp of I think they call it a solar sail in the original. I really appreciate the revamp of it because in the original it looks great. But there's a goofy scene where there's a bunch of energy and Flynn diverts it and I'm sorry, Venice made a really good joke about it and I couldn't stop laughing because it's a little goofy, but it's like the revamp of the solar sail. It looks so amazing.
Yeah,
and
it does. And it's awesome technology because then we just build basically to this run to the end where Clue is getting his troops together and he's got the identity disc, and Cora makes a go for it in order to stall, and now he's got Cora. So Sam goes in and gets her back, and we have some beautiful visuals as he jumps out of the tower and he's using those wings to fly down as a controlled landing into the new ship that Kevin got for them.
Where'd you learn that one? Encom Tower a couple of nights ago.
Perfect. And now we get another vehicle, this jet that they're flying out, and then the little jets that follow, personal jets, I guess you could say.
Oh my
instead
god!
of light cycles.
So I do want to touch on even the low point, which is the solar sail. It's such an awesome scene because you get father-son bonding, and I love the line where it's like, yeah, Wi-Fi, and he's like, Wi-Fi? Oh yeah, wireless connection across all devices. He's like, I thought of that in '85.
I do. I love that, and they probably did. And that's where we definitely get sort of like we've talked about Star Wars with the Jedi at the end of their life cycle. Flynn is near the end, and he's learned so much more about so many things. He's not this brash kid that just created video games. It's like, okay, that's impressive. That's awesome.
And I love the end flying scene. It is so visually stunning.
Beautiful. We've never seen this vehicle before. It's gorgeous the way it interacts with its light.
Oh yeah,
but its jet streams. So beautiful. And the way it takes out some of the other fighters, and we see Rinsler. And we learn who Rinsler is. And it's not enough because I thought we were getting a sequel right away. So I'm curious to see how this is dealt with, and I hope it is dealt with. But we see Rinsler die, and we see Tron come back, and he fights for the users, and it is beautiful.
And I love the little detail that you see the T. So if you know the symbol, it's like you're like, wait a fucking minute. But if you don't know, it's like such a huge revelation that it's like, oh shit. And that's where we'll get into Uprising for a brief bit after this, but it's like I love that moment where it's like you start to see Tron break as it's like they're spiraling down and you've got Clue doggedly chasing them. Like the moment where Tron starts to break is where he pulls up because he can't take the shot, so he lets Clue do it. Yeah. And then he's like kind of off to himself, and then Clue goes in and he's in, and it's like Tron has this moment where he's like, I fight for the users, and he crashes into Clue.
Well, remember, he does that upside inverted, and he sees Kevin. So Rinsler sees Kevin, and at that moment, it was that recognition of Tron.
And
I am Tron.
What have they done to you? And I love that moment where he just says, I fight for the users. And you hear Bruce Boxleitner's voice, and he just punches it, takes out Clue.
So perfect. And we think that's the end, but never the end of the bad guy.
And I love that throughout all of it, it's been set up that Rinsler always has a second thing. Yep. So it's like Clue gets the second light jet and speeds off ahead of Cora and Flynn and Sam. And I love that we see the purification of Tron in the water, the lake, whatever it's supposed to be. And it sucks that we never got a sequel, but I love that it's like we can kind of figure out where it's going from there. And so they get to the portal. And this is where I appreciate that they took the iconic pose from '82 and they really like held out on it until the end to really do it. Because this ending scene is probably my favorite confrontation in the series. It's so emotionally impactful because not only do you have father and son, you have creator and creation, and in a way, it turns Frankensteinian.
Yeah.
You have
Very
Clue,
much so.
who's like, I did what you told me to do. I did everything you asked of me. And Flynn's like, and I fucked up. And it's what Victor Frankenstein never was. Flynn admits he screwed up. He knows he did the wrong thing. He gave Clue the wrong prerogative. And it shatters Clue because he just can't fathom that the person that created him, the being that literally made him anything, could fail. And
Yeah.
it's such a powerful revelation. And you
Because that's
see,
his God, and so his God failed.
and it's like you see Clue. I honestly see it as the only reason he's fighting to get to the real world is to be like, no, this can't be true. Almost to like reevaluate. It's like, no, the real world has to be perfect. And he would only be shattered by the revelation.
Yeah.
And
And
it
visually, it's so impressive there at the end and Cora said this earlier, and I didn't catch it the first time we watched it, but that in order to eliminate Clue, he'd have to re
recombine.
recombine with him, and that's what we see is that almost a full reformat. But in order to do that, because it is part of Flynn, Kevin, they have to come together, and to do that, it destroys everything they created. And so we see Sam and Cora leaving by way of the raised disc, and we see Kevin pulling with all his might Clue, and they do recombine, and that's where that grid blows up. But then there's a peaceful, serene afterglow once
Yes.
it's calm, and it's like, and it focuses on the water, which I'm sure Tron had something that he was
Yes.
going to do
And
in mind.
it's what I love is that in that moment, Flynn hugs Clue. And it's just such a little thing. And it's like that's what needed to be done because Clue was a program who executed his exact programming. And it's like Flynn fucked up. And that's what I love so much about this story is that nobody's the villain. Clue is doing what he was told to do. It's and it recontextualizes it. It's not like Terminator where they're like trying to kill a kid, where it's like there's a lot less moral ambiguity there. It's not like I have no mouth and I'm a scream where the computer program went mad. It's literally a sovereign being doing what it was told to do with the parameters it was given. And so Flynn holds no resentment or anger. And
Even
it's
Dillinger in this one off, I don't know what it was meant to be, and we saw some bonus material on the Blu-ray, but in this movie by itself, Dillinger's not a bad guy.
no, there's no bad guy. The only bad thing is that one person made a naive mistake, and it's real. It's the moral complexity of the original Tron is enhanced by and enhances the moral ambiguity of Legacy. That it's like we see the infallibility of the users to the programs in the original Tron, and now it's all shattered in Legacy. It's the full circle. It's we set up this idea that the users are these godly beings that you have to believe in. And then we see that the users are fallible and that it's not as glorious as everybody makes it out to be. And it's such a beautiful it's a beautiful way to encapsulate the human condition and exactly what Flynn was talking about. And that it's like he was right about the human frontier. He just had to live with it and fail with it.
I will say there is one, maybe not a bad guy, but uber douche, who's the CEO of Encom, who wants to ring the bell at the Japanese stock exchange. Yeah, he's all about the money, and I'm
I
sure the
hate
board
that
was part
guy.
of that. So that guy, yes, he was definitely not a good guy.
No, he was
Uh,
a jackass. But
but
it's
yeah, you're right. There really wasn't a villain per se, other than something that man created, which it's not an original idea, but it's I like how they told it in this, and I really like how it goes back to the original Tron, and I really like how we have no idea what Ares is going to be at this point, but we see an ISO program come out to the real world, and now Cora gets to see her first sunset. No idea what was meant to happen, but we see Sam and Cora off on the Ducati motorcycle and going over the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's just a beautiful ending.
And I love it when Sam talks to Bruce, or not Bruce, talks to Alan, and he's like, "You're chairman."
Yep.
And it's positive. I appreciate it a lot. I think it's a beautiful ending. And as a duology, I think it's incredible. And I think now having the programs come into the real world with Ares, it's what Clue wanted to do. And now we get to see the repercussions of this. And I feel like there is a huge piece of like Tron morality that we've seen with 1 and 2 that they can hopefully deliver on with Ares. And I hope they do. And before we go, I want to get into probably one of my favorite animated shows of all time, Tron Uprising. Please, if you have ever heard of Tron, if you have a Disney Plus subscription, go watch it, please. I don't care if you don't like sci-fi. The show desperately needs more numbers because if we get enough attention on it, it could get a second season. Maybe I'm delusional, but it's such a good show.
You are delusional, but it is an amazing show. I have not seen it since it came out. We went back and looked at the acting, and obviously, I 100% remember Elijah Wood. Just phenomenal that he plays Beck, the main character. Obviously, Bruce Boxleitner came back to be Tron. Totally remember that. I obviously remember Paul Rubens, Lance Einriksen, but the ones I did not remember was Mandy Moore, Reginald Vell Johnson, David Arquette, Donald Faison, Aaron Paul, Lance Reddick, Matt Jones, Chris Klein, Kate Mara. I'm like, these are amazing names, Marcia Gay Harden, that people know that were in it for just one episode, several episodes. Olivia Wilde came back. Just awesome. Adam Devine, Ben Schwartz. It's like people know these names, Mark Boone Jr., and you're like, this was for an animation that sadly very few people saw. And it's awesome.
It's
awesome.
It's so good, and it's so underappreciated. But what I love is that the new Tron game Disney announced, they mentioned Beck, which means they recognize Uprising exists. And it's like, there may never be a second season, but the fact that it's getting recognition from something is awesome. I love it so much because it really adds to the complexity of the grid. We don't bother with the users. We just see programs. I love Beck as a character. He's hot-headed, and it's so much fun to watch him have to like be put up against Tron, who's also pretty hot-headed at times. But it's like it's a kid. It's a naive kid with like one of the greatest veterans of the grid, and they have their back and forths, and I love the other characters. I love Zed. I love Mara. I love Abel. I love Paige. She's beautiful, but it's like I also love her character as like a medic that became a warrior, and it's like she hems and haws about if she's doing the right thing or not. I love Tesla, yes, which his name has become scarily apropos of certain real world companies as of late. I love him as a Machiavellian villain. I love Pavel as a Machiavellian villain. I love Cyrus as like this insane protege that never became what Tron wanted because he was crazy. There's just so many Dyson. I forgot Dyson. I love Dyson as a character. There's so many amazing characters in this show and so many things they could have done with it had it gotten more time. And what they did with it was amazing. I just want to point out the animation. Holy shit, it's amazing. There are so many beautiful, like just animated moments. And it's definitely the beginning of that era of animation where you have like the choppier frame rate with more stylistic animation. And I love it. And there are times where it's like 2D animated and it's still really good when you can see it because it's so well done. And I love that Bit comes back. I miss Bit. Bit's awesome. That's such a good programming joke. But it's like, I love what they did with it, and I wish we got more of it because it's such an amazing show.
Well, and it's sad that, again, not that many people have seen it. There have been more people that have seen Tron and more people that have seen Tron Legacy than there have been that seen Uprising. Yet, Uprising is really the most world building we have for Tron. Like, we get, what do programs do day to day? Well, that's what we're seeing because we don't see the real world. We only see the grid. And of course, now we're learning we don't know what grid this is as far as, there's a grid in the first one, there's a grid in Legacy, there's a grid in the Ares. Are they all the same? We don't know. But you see this version of the grid and it's beautiful. It's fantastic. The stories they do are awesome. And then you have Tron training his replacement. And he
And
doesn't
the
know who it is at the time, but now he knows this one's Beck, and that's the one we're focused on. And it's just beautiful storytelling.
the technology design, the vehicle design. I love that they played with colors way more in this. You have purple programs, green programs, you like hair coloring. There's so much to it, that it's like it really blows open the world of Tron, and it's like I love that the train there's like a whole train segment, and that's super well done. I really love the fact that all of the cities are named after elements.
Yep.
That's a fun little detail. I like Argonne. I think there's Bismuth. I can't remember. There's another town they're heading to, but it's like they're all named after the periodic elements, and it's so much world building that I feel like a lot of people who only watch Legacy just don't really get that. It's like these programs, you see it in Tron for a little bit, you see it in Legacy for a little bit, but it's like Uprising really shows that it's like these are sovereign beings. They aren't ISOs who have no programming and are almost completely sentient, but they are capable of sentience and doing things outside their programming. And it's, yeah.
Before I promote this idea, because the other area where you can get more Tron that is not typically known is there we go. Okay, I was checking to see if it was on the Marvel app because I didn't want to say go look for Tron. Luckily, Disney bought Marvel, so we have comic books from Disney movies now. Tron had some fantastic comic books. There was one that took place in between the original and Legacy called Betrayal, which was fantastic. Then they have the original movie adaptation and then the new adaptation. But Betrayal gave a lot of information that they really didn't give away in Legacy as far as what happened to Sam's mom, Kevin's wife, why he was an only child, why it put so much strain on Kevin, and why Kevin went to great lengths to try and prevent death. I mean, it's not anything odd we've seen like Anakin, but why he was doing what he was doing to try and save that and sacrificing time with Sam. So that was really cool too. But yes, there are other media. As far as I know, all the video games are canon. I've not played all of them because some of them were on consoles I did not have. But a lot of the games are really, really good too.
I know Evolution on it might have been like PS3, one of the Xboxes, and then I don't know if Nintendo got it. That I heard that was really good, especially the PS3 version. The new visual novel one they have on Switch and Modern Console, I've heard is a really good grid-based story that's like really removed from the main storyline, but still canon. And then the new one that they're releasing, it's like a isometric 2D. So it's if you've seen the gameplay for Hades, it looks like that. That looks like it's almost like open world explorable.
That's awesome.
And that looks like so much fun because they mentioned Tron, they mentioned Beck, they mentioned Korra. And it's like, I don't know what this is going to be about, but I'm excited to see. And it's, I mean, even leading into Ares, I don't think Tron is a series where you can fuck up if you're not intentionally trying to mess up. And again, I will always compare it to Metroid, whether people see it or not, because Metroid is a series you can't really screw up. It's endlessly explorable, and that's what makes it so brilliant, is that you could put any idea into the formula of Tron, and it works. You just have to, not goof it up. And Metroid has its missteps, but it's like the Metroid is such a vast franchise for the few games it has because it explores different concepts while still fitting the same metric. Tron did that. They had the original movie that had its own themes and ideas. And then they took that as a basis and put Legacy into it and made it work. And they did that with Uprising. And they did that with the comic books and the games. And I really hope Ares does gangbusters at the box office because Tron needs to be brought to the forefront. It was way ahead of its time in 82. It was way ahead of its time in 2010. And I still think to an extent it'll be ahead of its time in 2025. But I think we're getting to the point where we can finally give it its due diligence.
And I'm excited from what I've seen so far. And if at the end of the day, We get a similarly aged movie that just has a ton of sequels that some people don't like, but I like them all. Terminator. It's like, yeah, you can erase some, like some, not all like them. The comic books, whatever. I am enjoying every single one I watch or read. So if we get, and Sarah Connor Chronicles, if we get more Tron in that vein and that I could like or dislike, it's up to me. I'll be thrilled because I don't feel like we have enough Tron.
I completely agree, and it sucks that both Tron and Metroid kind of started at the same time. But one had the fortune of being a video game, and it was highly experimental at the time. Tron came out at a time when movies were experimental, but they weren't that experimental. And it's like it kind of just got pushed down because it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. The only reason it's as popular and as successful as it was because the hippies went and watched it when they got high, and the critics were like, "Why is this making so much money?" And they rewatched it and they changed their minds. Tron wasn't that lucky. And it sucks, but now we're getting to that point where Tron can finally get its due diligence. And to everybody who's saying this isn't gonna be good because of the cast, shut up. Jared Leto is amazing at playing like this weird robotic dude. So he is like perfect to play a program.
Yeah, I'm not judging until I see it because we need more Tron. That's all I'm
Exactly.
going to say. And this is what we're getting, more Tron.
It's like with the Minecraft movie. I called it day one. People are going to love it because it'll be a fun movie. I agree with this sentiment with Tron Ares. I don't think it'll be a fun movie. I think it'll be an amazing movie. I think it'll really follow the vein of Tron, and I trust the writers, and I genuinely think Nine Inch Nails knows what they're doing with the soundtrack.
Oh, Trent Reznor. That's another thing we didn't bring up is that taking over from Daft Punk and Wendy Carlos, we have Trent Reznor, who's done some amazing things with soundtracks. I believe he just won an Academy Award. I don't remember what movie. But yeah, his work, obviously with Nine Inch Nails, but with movie soundtracks is phenomenal. So I'm
Very much so.
very, very interested seeing the footage and hearing some of this music already. So excited for Tron Ares. And again, I really hope this is the one that takes off so Disney can finally be like, hey, we got this tent pole. We
Yes.
can make more of these things. And I don't care if it's comic books, animation, or movies. Tron needs more. And it's awesome.
And it's, I'll gush a little bit over the design. I love hearing Flynn's voice at the end of the trailer. I love the idea of the triangular discs. That's such an interesting concept. And I love the new light bike ideas. I love the way they look. I like that the grid's all red, which is like, that's not good. And then, which I was super excited to see that it's like, oh shit, we're going to see like light cycles and shit in the real world. You see him turn it on and the police car gets cut in half. It's like, I know that blew people's minds seeing the trailer. It's like, that's what Clue was trying to do. So now it's like, who the fuck figured this out?
Exactly. And how does it fall into what we already know?
Yes.
I cannot wait. Coming out later this year, 2025. So
October.
And I don't have another 15 to 30 years to wait for another one after that. So please, 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 please go see this and make this a blockbuster so that we get more Tron.
Yeah, I would like to say I don't want to be in my 40s and 50s when we get the next Tron. Please go support this movie.
These are the ages he thinks are old, and that's right where I am. Love you. All right, let us know what you guys think of the Tron universe, Tron Legacy, Tron Uprising, and if you've read them, the comic books, or played the video games. Let us know in the comments below. What do you guys think Tron Ares is going to be? Again, let us know. Nerd out.